November 20th, 2025, a day that began like any other along Taiwan's coastline, until radar screens lit up with 29 PLA aircraft, 17 crossing the invisible red line no one had dared before. In past encounters, this median line meant deterrence. Today, its violation risked war. What forced the world's attention was not just the scale, but what came next, something Beijing never expected, and that Taiwan would soon reveal to everyone watching. 29 Chinese military aircraft entered Taiwan's Air Defense Identification Zone on November 20th, 2025. 17 of those jets crossed the Taiwan Strait's median line, a boundary long treated as a silent guarantee against escalation. The incursion covered 3 sectors: the northern approaches above Keelung, the central corridor near Taichung, and the southwestern quadrant off Penghu's coast. Official logs from Taiwan's ministry confirm these numbers, and radar and satellite data corroborate multiple formation launches across a single 24-hour period. The pattern was not random. Flight clusters pierced the Air Defense Identification Zone in coordinated waves, first before dawn in the north, then again mid-morning, and late afternoon southwest of the island. Each pulse brought a mix of J-16 strike fighters and KJ-500 early warning planes, tracked by both ground-based radar and open-source satellite passes. Contrails from the largest groups were visible on satellite imagery, fanning out west of Taiwan's main population centers. Civilian spotters and maritime traffic logs reported unusually intense jet activity, matching government statements almost minute for minute. No previous day that month had seen this many median line crossings, even as overall People's Liberation Army activity had been steadily rising since late 2024. The Air Defense Identification Zone, Taiwan's broad early warning perimeter, has seen thousands of incursions, but the median line is different. It is not drawn on any treaty map, yet for decades its violation has carried a warning of potential conflict. On this day, the boundary was crossed in force, not by accident or weather, but by deliberate, synchronized action. Taiwan's official tally, released the following morning, left no ambiguity: 29 sorties, 17 breaching the median line, with each incursion plotted on a grid that covered the island's most sensitive air corridors. The numbers told a story of scale and intent, and set the stage for what would become one of the most closely watched air defense episodes in recent memory. The Taiwan Strait's median line is not drawn on any official chart, but for decades it has served as the unwritten boundary that keeps two rival air forces from colliding. Its origins trace back to the 1950s, proposed by the United States as a buffer to prevent accidental clashes. For years, both sides treated it as a line not to be crossed, an unspoken rule that kept routine patrols from turning into something much more dangerous. Violating the median line is more than a technical breach. It is a direct challenge to the status quo and a signal that old boundaries can be erased at will. On November 20th, the formations that crossed this invisible barrier were not just isolated fighters. They moved in synchronized groups, led by the J-16, a modern twin-engine strike fighter designed for both air-to-air combat and ground attack. But what set this operation apart was the presence of the KJ-500, China's airborne early warning and control aircraft. The KJ-500 acts as a flying command post, orbiting high above the strait and directing the movement of every jet in the package. Its radar can track hundreds of targets over hundreds of kilometers, relaying information to pilots in real time. With the KJ-500 orchestrating from above, J-16s can fly with their own radars off, waiting for the command to light up and lock on. This networked approach turns a simple incursion into a coordinated rehearsal for complex air combat. The combination of J-16s and a KJ-500 is not routine. It signals a deliberate move to practice joint command and control, training for scenarios where rapid, decisive action could be needed. For Taiwan's defenders, this formation presents a far greater threat than lone fighters or small probes. The KJ-500's sensor bubble expands the engagement envelope, allowing Chinese pilots to launch missiles from well beyond visual range, guided by data from the command aircraft. Each crossing of the median line under these conditions forces Taiwan's Air Force to treat the incursion as a near-peer confrontation, not a mere show of force. This is why the November 20th event stands out. The median line, once a safety valve, now risks becoming irrelevant as coordinated PLA packages cross it with increasing frequency. Every breach under airborne command brings new tactical risks and compresses the reaction window for Taiwan's interceptors. The message is clear: the old rules are fading, and each incursion tests not just readiness but the very boundaries of deterrence. The scramble order comes before the radio chatter has even faded. Pilots sprint across hardened shelter concrete, helmets in hand, and ground crews are already priming the F-16Vs for immediate launch. Canopy locks click shut. Engines spool with a sharp whine, then afterburners ignite. Twin blue flames streaking behind as wheels lift from the tarmac. Time-stamped heads-up displays flicker, showing 08:0, 3:17. The upgraded radars sweep wide, and data link feeds pulse with target vectors from ground control. Every second is measured. Within minutes, the F-16Vs are climbing hard, banking toward the grid. Pilot's gloved hands steady on the stick, eyes darting between the heads-up display and the horizon. Altitude ticks upward, G-forces press into the seat, and the first radar contacts bloom on the glass. At 10 nautical miles, the formation tightens. The lead F-16V rolls level, nose pointed straight at a cluster of J-16s. The KJ-500 signature appears at high altitude, its radar dome unmistakable even at range. A quick glance at the time code, 08:08:44, matches the official sortie log. The merge happens fast, and less than a kilometer separates the cockpits as the Taiwanese fighters close in. Helmet-mounted cameras capture the moment, visors down, oxygen masks tight, and the People's Liberation Army jets looming large in the glass. For several tense seconds, neither side blinks. Then as the F-16Vs hold their line, the nearest J-16s bank abruptly away, engines flaring as they turn back toward the strait. The KJ-500 lingers, then circles north. Republic of China Air Force pilots hold position until the last intruder has crossed back over the median line. Only then do they swing south, fuel checks running, the adrenaline still fresh as they head for home. The footage released the next day leaves little doubt. Taiwan's upgraded Vipers are not just ready, they are waiting. Taiwan's decision to release cockpit and interception footage was not just a matter of transparency, it was a calculated move in the information domain. Underscoring the authenticity of the event and leaving little room for misinformation. Ministry of National Defense President readiness. International outlets quickly circulated the images of Army cockpits at close range. Defense analysts like Justin Bronk point out that such releases raise the operational cost for China, making each median line crossing a public risk rather than a quiet rehearsal. Elsa Kanya, a specialist in Chinese military affairs, notes that the presence of a KJ-500 airborne early warning and control plane in these formations is not routine. It signals a shift toward real-time battle management, with higher stakes for both sides. Yet, experts also flag the limits of this strategy. M. Taylor Fravel, a scholar of cross-strait security, cautions that while publicizing intercepts can reinforce deterrence, it does not restore the old stability of the median line. Tactical victories in the air do not erase the underlying risk of miscalculation. Within Taiwan's own policy circles, the debate continues. Some argue that showing the world these encounters strengthens morale and international support, while others warn that repeated footage could normalize the risk or reveal too much about Republic of China Air Force procedures. Ultimately, the footage serves as both deterrent and warning, a reminder that every incursion now plays out not just in the skies, but in the court of global opinion, where credibility and restraint are as important as technical readiness. Taiwan's airspace remains a front line where seconds define sovereignty. With the median line crossings now routine, each scramble risks miscalculation with global stakes. Today, the world watches not just a border, but a warning. Stability in the Taiwan Strait hangs by the thinnest line. What do you think?